men, women, they come. And they are everywhere the Yoruba people are, across the Yoruba speaking world. So the opinion movement a deep team all of Kolubesi here. Because of the Igbo supremacist agenda to one push. That's why we are doing what we are doing, because we know what they are trying to do. But the APC, oh God, no. They don't get it. What kind of way? We are building Coastal Road. We've not done 40 kilometers. We've done 50 kilometers. Wọ́n ti gbàgbé òwe táwọn àgbàlagbà Yorùbá pa. Wọ́n ní pé ẹ tá a fẹ́ àlòrán. So kò sí nǹkan tí ẹ lè ṣe. Ẹ tí ò fẹ́ yín nílùú kò lè fẹ́ yín nílùú. Kẹ́ ẹ gún yín lẹ́bẹ́, kẹ́ ẹ gúnróyà, kẹ́ ẹ rókà. Ẹ tí ò yó, ẹ tó yó, ẹ tó máa yó, ẹ tí ò yó ò ní yó. Until the kind of threat we face is not just, we are facing a mortal enemy politically. It's the bitter truth. From Lagos, no man's land, we must conquer Lagos, we must take Lagos, we must rule Western region, we must, I want sow seed of discord between Edo and Yoruba. Everywhere they are there. So, this is consistent for over 100 years. But the Yoruba political and the APC are not smart. They still don't get it. We are waiting for 2027. And they cannot get it. Because, sorry to say this, the intellectuals, the technocrats, many of them are within the levels of politics. That's why we are praying. We just want to survive this period. Because the Yoruba people are currently weak. Career politicians without ideology are with the ranks of APC, PDP. Sorry to say this. Sherry Konshe, our governors don't go nowhere in power. It is within the people within the party. How can the people in power? The governor is just in politics. He's just in the office. Our Towa, our chief of staff, party chairman at the government level, at the local government level, our Gongoni. In that can draw the 2020 in 2027, come and see clean rice. Come and see clean gari. In that draw the the ideological base. Our Lord did not share gari, did not share pa. He was able to rally his people based on ideological movement and renaissance. Every day, week, people come here to listen to us. We are not sharing gari to people. We dare any politician to open gari, to open recharge card, to be able to bring 10,000 people on Twitter every week. That's what about sorrow. They can't do it. But the Yoruba we used to know 40, 50, 60, the days of Awoism, they can successfully do it. People that can do what I'm doing, what for? But there's no platform. Mediocrity has taken over our political space. And the reason why some of us are still a little bit pro-APC, because if any Awo is still PDP, Labour Party, those are no go. You say, well, that called Labour Party. Labour Party is that's a congregation of nuisance. That's a legal party. It's the bitter truth. I'm saying it here. That's been hijacked by Biafrans. So let's not talk about the real topic proper. the silent conquest of Yoruba land. So social media is extremely important. We have fight every single one of you, Bolutife, no nonsense, Bayo Bilisi, anybody, if you're doing Iyalode, Ibidu, the countless accounts, you are fighting a battle for your life. Because it is called psychological warfare. The greatest strength of the Nazi army, they call them the German machine, the witchcraft, masscraft rather. The strength of the Third Reich in the Second Republic was not because of the advanced guns, bullets, and intercontinental ballistic missiles that they invented. It was because of the propaganda power of the Germans. That's why many of you must have heard about Goebbels, one of the top Nazi army chiefs and generals. Even the Allies knew that the German propaganda machine was second to none in the world. Propaganda is one of the greatest weapons of war. And for some of us that have read many accounts of the historical book, of history books, the propaganda, the Igbo agenda. Now, let me tell you something. There was nothing called Igbo nation before 1914. There was never an Igbo kingdom, no Igbo empire, no centralized power base of the Igbos 500, 600, 700 years ago. Just disparate people. That was why Achebe said the Igbos are not an ethno-linguistic group. The Igbos are more of a linguistic conglomeration of the people. Everything the Igbos did, it was first built around the West African pilot owned by Nnamdi Azikiwe. Media ni Nnamdi Azikiwe fi kọ́kọ́ fi build the Igbo power. So don't underestimate what we are doing on social media. Bolutife is here. I keep on mentioning him because I remember I just saw him while we are doing our own in one corner. I saw him fighting, talking like a lone voice in the wilderness. Tiba la fi ma ní 50 likes, 30 likes, 40 likes, and majority of the people that used to insult us were our APC political pundits. Bolutife gan wá ti pè ní Yoruba nation dáadáa. Am I lying, Bolutife? Wá ti pè ní Yoruba nation. And the reality.
Wọ́n ti pè mí ní terrorist.
Thank you.
Wọ́n ti pè mí ní terrorist. In fact, wọ́n fi ẹjọ́ mi sùn National Security Adviser àti Inspector General of Police Nigeria.
Okay, ẹ ṣé.
Mo kàn ń sọ.
Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. Ẹ ṣé. That was then, many years back. But look at where we've come. Millions and millions of our people have listened. They have hearkened to the voice of Renaissance. Because bí ẹni pé wọ́n fi èdì, wọ́n fi di ìran Yorùbá ni. We were seriously hypnotized. Wọ́n fi ògùn ọrún, wọ́n fi sínú oúnjẹ fáwọn èèyàn wa ni. When young politicians like Citizen Olu, we said, no, I'm a Yoruba man, I am pro-Nigeria, I am pro-PBAT, and I'm pro-Yoruba, and I will not allow you to speak and spit on the Yoruba people. He was cancelled. He was threatened. They won't even allow him to go on some stages. They will blackmail him. He's a Sunday Igboho follower. He's a Yoruba nation. But our consistency, our sincerity, our balls, our God, our luck, our God is what has brought us into this level where we've been able to successfully destroy the Biafran propaganda. Now, I want to say this. Nigeria might have the biggest weapons of war during the Biafran war, but Biafra had the best propaganda. Nigeria won that war. Nigeria won the Biafran war on the battlefield. But Nigeria lost the war of narrative to the Biafrans. When we started talking about the atrocities of the Biafrans, every day people talk about the killings. I'm not justifying killings, please. The killings of Igbos in the pogrom in the Connaught. But many people forget that close to 10,000 Northerners were also killed in Igbo land. During that time, in 1966, as the pogrom was taking place in the Connaught, a counter pogrom was taking place in the southeast. There are historical references to this. When we talk about, many Yorubas don't even know that the Biafrans invaded Yoruba land, and there was a written document that a portion and a part of Yoruba land must be annexed into Biafra. A lot of Yoruba people do not know that many places in Akoko area were invaded and bombed by the Biafrans, and a lot of Yoruba women were raped by the Biafran army. A lot of Yoruba people don't know this, because we allowed the Biafrans to win the war of narrative. They lost everything. They lost the war. But they were able to keep hold of their Biafran propaganda. That was how Nnamdi Kanu was able to start the resurgence of IPOB. Masop also did the same thing. They just took Biafran manual that already existed to another level. And the Igbos have always been in federal politics until 2015 in Nigeria. The time the Igbos were not in federal politics was just nearly 10 years ago. The progressive Awoist base of the Yoruba people has been in opposition in Nigeria for more than 70 years. From the 50s, láti wà l'opposition. A ṣe máa gbé placard, àwọn máa complain, wọ́n máa fún wa náà máa yin àwọn èèyàn wa ní tear gas, wọ́n máa pa àwọn èèyàn wa, wọ́n máa assassinate àwọn leaders wa. But the Igbos stopped being in federal politics just 10 years in 2015. And immediately they lost power. What did they do? They started IPOB. And I'm going to give you an instance so that many people will say, oh, it's a lie, it's a lie. You know, that's what Igbos always want to do. You cannot conquer a people that are ethnically conscious. You cannot conquer a people that know their history. Now, let's start. Between 1960, 59, our first election, between 1959 and 1966, the Igbos were in federal power. It was a political alliance between the NCNC-led Igbo party and the NPC-led Fulani party. So it was the Igbos in federal power and the Fulanis. In the Second Republic, between 1979, Since 1984, Shagari, a Fulani man in power, and followed by what? Alex Ekweme, a vice president of Igbo extraction. Now, let me not shock you. Between 1967 to 1970, our fathers went to go and die and bleed for the unity of Nigeria. One Nigeria, right? Now, between 1970 and 1979, 9 years later, àwọn tí ó lọ jà fún independence fún unity in Nigeria, we were thrown back into the opposition by the same Hausa Fulani North. While those that declared war on Nigeria were again put in federal power. This is the bitter truth. In fact, to make matter worse, Shagari, the Connaught, went to go and bring Ojukwu from exile. Gave him a full-fledged federal pardon. And Ojukwu was used to massively mobilize and use ethnic sentiments and started spinning propaganda that it was the Yoruba people that was their problem, not Hausa Fulani. The war of Biafra was basically a war between the Connaughts and the Eastern region. The Yoruba people did not join that war until the Igbos invaded Yoruba land. Atore. That was when we joined. Because during that time, there were people like Wole Soyinka, the same Wole Soyinka that were Igbos, Mambusin, who were pro-Igbo, pro-Biafra. Wole Soyinka was pro-Biafra. The only sin, and he went to prison for Biafra. The sin of Wole Soyinka was that Wole Soyinka won the Nobel Prize in Literature, and Chinua Achebe did not win it. So how dare a Yoruba man defeat an Igbo man in any contest? If you do that, you are marked for destruction. They don't want to see such a thing. Because it's just like how when is it Jesse Owens? I forgot. See, this black American Olympian who won a gold medal in athletics at the Munich Olympic in the 1930s. And Adolf Hitler was supposed to present the gold medal to him, and Adolf Hitler left the stadium in anger. Because how dare an inferior black person, according to the Nazi, defeat the Aryan race in anything? It's not different. Why should a Yoruba man win the Nobel Prize in literature, and he was able to defeat an Igbo man? It is to them it's a sacrilege. So they had to invent and concoct all sorts of propaganda that it was the Europeans, colonials, who are anti-Igbos, colonialists, that gave Wole Soyinka that. Oh, Wole Soyinka does not deserve it. Oh, he doesn't deserve it. And a lot of some Yoruba people were also gaslighted and railroaded into that propaganda. The only people that say that any academic does not deserve something, the only way I've seen it in my entire life is the Igbos, because saying that because Wole Soyinka won a Nobel Prize and he defeated an Igbo man. This little aggression, a lot of our people did not pay attention to it. So that is why we've been saying that the Biafrans actually won the war of narrative. And it was not different from what happened in the First World War. After Germany, the German Empire was defeated in the First World War. The Germans were technically not defeated in the real sense of it because the propaganda, the sentiment, they were still able to turn the sentiment and paint Germany as the victim of that war. It's not different from what the Biafrans are doing in Nigeria. Meanwhile, they are never the victim of Nigeria. They prevented secession clause in the Nigerian constitution, fought against regional system, fought against true federalism, fought against ethno-linguistic federalism. That's why when I see people like Inamen, those nuisance, don't be camera kakiri, go to Benue, this is Igbo, go to Rivers, this is Igbo. You are crying about what Azikwe himself prevented. The First Republic, because he wanted to export Igbo population as a form of secular colonialist launching pad into other people's region. Igbos were more interested in building empires. I saw a lot of people saying something yesterday, and no matter how crazy it is the truth. Southwest governors are all over the world asking investors to come and invest in the Southwest. As they are bringing French people, they are bringing this company, they are bringing this company. And our people are saying that our governors, Yoruba governors, are going all over the world looking for how to develop our states and our region. While some people are busy in Abuja looking for how to lobby, how they are going to bribe legislators, and how they are going to now remove state of origin and replace with state of residence so that they will now massively, in fact, 500,000 in 2023 year, they will now export their entire states and cities into Yoruba land completely. And they know they have a lot of corrupt people in Yoruba land. They will just be giving them state of origin indigenous forms. Because why should they build Igbo land when they can steal Yoruba land? To build Igbo land will take them another 100 years, another 300 years. Excuse me. Because I'm sorry, there's nothing there, there's no roadmap there, nothing. They have no interest in building that place. They've given up on Igbo land. So why not just go and steal the ready-made soup? You're asking people to go and plant yam, plant tomato, plant pepper, so that they can now prepare food. That's a waste of time. Just go and look for one already made restaurant, bukateria, everything already, serve yourself, steal the entire thing, and move on. And that analogy I gave you is not different from what the Ottomans did, the Turks did to the Byzantine Empire. They stole the entire Byzantine Empire and converted it into a Turkish civilization. What the Byzantines built for close to 1,000 years, not to build it. Ottoman Empire stole it within 100 years. And they were able to turn it into the bastion of Turkic civilization till today. And they were able to transform themselves from a landlocked desert nomadic people into a European powerhouse with access to the Bosphorus Strait, the Black Sea, and access to the Mediterranean Sea. That was what they did through conquest. So don't think people that are living in the bush, living in the landlocked, they are not planning a way to find a way to be able to grab the territories, the coastal axis of other people. The only place where I've seen criminals, because I'm sorry to say, the Igbo political leaders or any politician in Nigeria that even dare open his mouth to legislate on indigenship is a criminal. No matter, you can be a British citizen, but you cannot be an English if you do not have a blood of English blood. You can be a British citizen. You cannot be a Welsh. If you do not have Welsh blood, you can't. Within the United Kingdom, you cannot be a Scottish if you do not have Scottish blood, even though you can be a British. So you can be of Pakistani descent, and you were born and bred in United Kingdom, and you have British passports. Your citizenship should be surface if you don't have any ulterior motive. God created, look, and I've been calling out a lot of Yoruba Christians today because the Igbos are using political Christianity with the Yoruba Christians. That's why we don't care about anybody's blackmail. Oh, TYF is Islamic. They don't give a damn about you. Nobody fought against Sharia law, theocracy. When they were trying to bring that rubbish and saying they need Sharia law, we said no, then Yoruba land is a secular society. Sharia panel is different from Sharia law. People like us were at the front line. So all this nonsense, and I'm not surprised. Because not a lot of you are not only Christianized, a lot of you are Westernized. So I'm not going to mince words. There's a difference between a Christian and a Christianized person and a Westernized person. There's a difference between being a Muslim and being an Arabized person. They are two different things. Two different things. You can be a Muslim and still be pro-Yoruba. You can be a Christian and still be pro-Yoruba. You can be. I've seen people that are saying they are Isheshe or Ta Yoruba than anyone. It's the bitter truth, though. I've seen them a lot. I don't say Isheshe, obedient complex, love. So let's talk about a good example. Excuse me. Of Eastern Europe, of Eastern Africa. There is a plan to conquer the Yoruba people gradually because they are afraid that guns and bullets will not be able to conquer Yoruba land. And I want to give say some terms so that you can be able to properly understand what is going on within Yoruba land. If you've not read Churchill Okonkwo's what he wrote, how the blueprint of Igbo conquest of Yoruba land, you need to go and read it on Sahara Reporters. Compare everything he said, compare to the rhetoric of the obedient movement and what Nnamdi Azikiwe was doing, and the rhetoric of an average Igbo leader and what has happened over the years. You are going to know that this is a brilliant blueprint. And for some of us that understand history, it is many things that has happened all across the world. Now, you don't need to come to, in 21st century, you don't need to put a gun to the head of anybody before you dispossess them of their land. We became part of the British Empire. The British did not just outrightly go to war across Yoruba land. They just created civil wars, proxy wars. Ijaye versus Ibadan war, Eda versus Ijebu war, the war between the Akintoyes and the Kosokos in Lagos State, the war between Ibadan army and the entire eastern flank of Yoruba land, the Ekiti Parapọ̀ war. One after the other, they weakened us. For 40 years, we killed ourselves. We killed the best of the best of the best of our war generals. And that was the end of our civilization. And we went into slavery, because colonialism is slavery. And what is the Biafran agenda? The Biafran agenda is an empire-building agenda. I want to empire Yoruba nation. Those ones make sense. They just want to create an homogeneous Yoruba land on their indigenous space. What the Igbos are clamoring for is an empire. Biafra was a Portuguese term. It's a Portuguese term. The Eastern region was created by the British. So they want to annex the entire Akwa Ibom Cross River in terms of landmass. Is as big as the entire Southeast. And we all know the Ibibio State Union was the first socio-cultural, socio-political organization that was created in the history of Nigeria to unite the Efik Ibibio people into a singular political bloc. So why are the Igbos talking about conquering them and conquering that place and creating another Nigeria to create Biafra? That's none of my business. If the Efik Ibibio people want to go into Igbo subjugation, it's their business. But what we are saying is, what is Biafra? Biafra is another mini Nigeria. It's a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, sectarian state being pushed by the Igbos. It's absolute madness. It's not different from anybody saying they want Arewa Republic, the 19 northern states. The same madness. It's just an avenue of the entire northwest trying to grab the entire northeast and the entire north central into their own caliphate. It's not different. Even though they have nothing to show, no economic progress, no political cohesion, nothing, no civilization superiority, apart from hiding under religious or Islamic puritanism, there is nothing that the Northwest can prove or to show that will make you want to even go and say, if you get this country, I will come and pay $200,000 to get your passport. If they give me their passport, I'll use it in the toilet. Why should I go and embrace feudalism? But if you see the way they talk, it is a delusion of it's a delusion of grandeur or grandiosity. I will not believe where all these things should belong to them. So when you have such neighbors in the east and in the north, you must ensure you have a proper gate man and you always close your doors. Because those two groups are empire builders. They are not nation builders. They have no interest of the indigenous people at heart. That's why if you see young people from the South and the South Middle Belt joining the obedient movement, I was even praying, they should test Igbo power for 4 years. They will be consumed and annihilated, and nothing will happen. You are supporting the people that are looking for access to the sea. You are supporting the people that are saying they will destroy state of origin and replace the state of residence, and they are telling you it's about good Nigeria. Many of you are brain dead because you don't understand. Now let's talk about Tutsi and Hutus. The Tutsis and Hutus, they are two ethnic nationalities I'll be brief about the history. In the east, in the eastern part and central part of Africa, Hutus are mostly of Bantu stock, while the Tutsis are from north part and that area of Ethiopia. They are somehow Semitic. Even though there's a lot of propaganda that say, oh, they are not Semitic, but we all know what we are saying. If you look at the picture of Kagame and you look at the picture of Buhari, one look at Paul Kagame, look at Buhari, they look the same. It's not a laughing matter, it is intellectual. So they are from the same stock. They are Semitic people. They are not Semitic. Anyway, some people say Hamitic origin, whatsoever. I'm not here to talk going, but they are from the same stock. They are both nomads, and they are a warrior race, a martial race. When the Tutsi pastoralists came to start settling with the Hutus, firstly they came in, they were mass migrating, and they settled with the Hutus, who were mostly sedentary people and farmers. The conquest of the Hutus in Rwanda did not take place maybe 30 or 40 years ago. This took place in just 300, 400 years ago, or 500. This power dynamics. Rwanda is just, let me be, between 15 to 20% Tutsis, and the remaining population, 80% are Hutus. But the Tutsis, who are in the minority, have always ruled the Hutus for more than 300 years. You see, today, that's why I try and avoid Pan-Africanists, idealists, or the people that say, oh, it doesn't matter. We don't need to talk about tribe. It's about meritocracy. The people that say that it's about meritocracy, they are currently accusing Tinubu of urbanization agenda. If it is about meritocracy, if it's all Yoruba people, power to Nigeria that might work, and the price of bread will become 1 naira, why are you complaining? Are you not the one that are telling us that it doesn't matter if an Igbo man that does not speak Yoruba becomes the governor of Ogun State, that we shouldn't care? Why are you now complaining of urbanization agenda on that? A friend of mine said, and I think it's true, the generation of 2025 of the Yoruba people do not have the mental capacity to properly process politics. The generation of Yoruba people that knew politics, many of them have died in the First Republic. Democracy ni 21st century. Democracy is the worst system of government if you are not careful, because it gives power to the majority, and the majority might be tyrannical, they might be settlers, and they are going to take over your land. Now, I said there is a phenomenon happening. When people come into your land to live with you, they are either residents, they either assimilate. You have a lot of Nupe people, Hausa people, Fulani people, Bariba people that have assimilated into Yoruba identity and culture for the past 1,000 years. That is the Yoruba way of life. And we also have another third grade. That third grade, they call them settlers. There's a difference. Look, the difference between settlers, at immigrants, at residents. Sorry. settlers have no intention of respecting the indigenous culture, indigenous languages, and indigenous customs. Àwọn settlers la máa create Eze Indigbo of Yoruba land. Ta ló máa kọ́ palace fún rẹ̀. Ta ló máa pe rẹ̀ lọ́ba nílùú tó lọ́ba níjòyè. Settlers are the ones that will be importing 500,000 PVC from Anambra, from Imo State, to be imposing Chinedu Gbadebo on us in Lagos State. Those are settlers. They are not your friends. The agenda of the settlers has always been to take over, to change the political status quo of the indigenous natives. Shari, if you allow foreigners to stay in your midst and they become very, very emboldened to start putting mouth into your local politics, what is the settlers? The Igbo's that are supposed to, the Igbo's living in Kano, they are just residents. The Igbo's living in Madikuri, they are residents, minding their business. The Igbo's living in Port Harcourt, they are residents. The Igbo's living in Akwa Ibom are residents. They mind their business. They've left, the fear of God has been put into them. The Igbo's living in Kogi are residents. Igbos living in Benue State are residents. The Igbos living across Yoruba land from Kogi, Kwara to Lagos are behaving like settlers. Any slight thing, I want to Masari champion protest. Oh, let's go and burn down this place. Let's go. They are always looking for revolution. Revolution. Why are Igbos looking for revolution in Yoruba land and they are not talking about revolution in the Southeast? By all metrics and indices, Yoruba land is still the best place in West Africa. Gbogbo Nigeria lẹ́kàn kó rádaràda lẹ́kọ́ orí burúkú ẹ̀kọ́ ṣì yín wá bá wa. We are better than all of you. So why do you now think we need revolution? Why do you think you're always telling us, oh, you must kill Tinubu? Oh, you must destroy Awolowo? Oh, you guys are, oh, what's your business with the Yoruba people? What is your business with us? And why are they doing this? It's because they are settlers. They are settlers. They are settlers. A settlers has no respect for the indigenous culture. They have no respect. They are coming into Yoruba land and they are promoting Yoruba Igbo marriage. Why? They have the audacity to be challenging our kings. The Oba of Lagos said, if you don't vote for my candidate, and they say, oh, look at what they are. If you don't like what the Oba of Lagos has said, get the fuck out of Yoruba land. Get out. If the Emir of Kano or Emir of Katsina says that, you dare challenge him. But when we have bastards like Delefarotimi in our midst, you are going to have the audacity to think you can challenge the Yoruba people, and we are praying for you to do it. That's what we are praying for. We are praying for it. And that's why we say we want Yoruba first, Yoruba first lady, pro-Yoruba leaders in our midst. We will achieve it. It's the land of our ancestors. We will not stop. We owe you no apology. Everybody does it in their ancestral space. The same people that have no love for anybody in Nigeria are the ones saying they want indigenship to be cancelled. Igbo nothing legislate indigenship. Indigenship is in the blood. You dare not say you want to erase the indigent. If you don't erase the indigenship, is in Australia, where they killed and exterminated the indigenous people. That's why we are saying we are dealing with animals. And it's because this nonsense they say in public, they've been able to gab it, and a lot of the political people, politicians in Yoruba land do not have the mental capacity to understand what is going on. It's the bitter truth. Especially UAPC politicians, go and get books and start reading. They come out dress, come out wash, agbada, come out suit. It's not enough. Because you guys have no clue of what is happening. The Fulanis and the Igbos are more ideologically sound than you guys. And we know what is happening. Everything we predicted is coming to pass. You cannot play neoliberal politics with these guys. Don't look for love in Nigeria. Better to be feared than to be loved. So it was the Gatral. So the Tutsis, they started pushing it. They started intermarrying with the Hutus. In fact, the Tutsis left their own language and embraced the language of the Hutus. Shemo, they forgot their language and embraced the language of the Hutus. And slow and steady, they started getting more lands. In fact, they gave their children into the Hutu chiefs. So if they have a Hutu chief, because the Tutsis were able to do a form of social engineering that their women are more beautiful than Hutu women. Social media. It is not just a mistake. It is a well-orchestrated psychological warfare. They are not going to tell you. Some of them are just doing it, but I want to bear. They are well tutored. They have different meetings that they do. So, because they are driven by an agenda, they are driven by Belgians, it's a problem. And we are not hating them. We are telling you what because why should they race? Be the ones that will continually speak against defenseless Yoruba women. I'm happy and grateful to Almighty God that almost this law against Yoruba women has been stopped. At least we'll be able to fight it to a large extent. Even though some of us also said the Yoruba women has not done enough to fight against this law. But it is the responsibility of Yoruba men to protect Yoruba women. So the social engineering of the Tutsis, of the Hutus by the Tutsis, by that the Hutu women were not beautiful enough. The Tutsi women were more beautiful. So the chiefs, the aristocrats, the powerful men within the Hutu society started marrying Tutsi women. And in the space of 100 years, there was now an hybrid of half Tutsi, half Hutu women. And Tutsi women are ethnically conscious. They raised their women to be ethnically conscious. So these women gave birth to children who are loyal to the Tutsi agenda. So even though, that's why if you look at the Hutus, if you look at the Obedient movement, look, Obedient movement needs to be studied. The Labour Party Obedient movement 2023. NCNC, if you don't know about NCNC, what Azikwe did in his plan to take over and colonize Yoruba land in 2000 and in 1960. You need to study the obedient movement between 2022, 2021, 2022, up to this present moment, and go and read about the First Republic. Compare CNC and Labour Party. Compare Zik and Peter Obi. Compare them. Zik is from Anambra. Peter Obi is from Anambra. Zik is an Igbo nationalist. Peter Obi is an Igbo nationalist. Peter Obi came from Abga, a party founded by Ojukwu. Torí ẹni mo máa ń wo many Yoruba obedience pé ṣé any mental problem ni or what you promise you ní political position. Tẹ́ fi lọ support ẹni tí ò ní any pedigree táwọn èèyàn pè yẹn ṣépè fún ní 14-15 years ago. Why should the hatred for your own political elite, no matter how bad they are, we know some of our political elites are something else. Why should they now force you to go and embrace your enemies? It's the bitter truth. Nigeria is not a nation, it's a country of nations. Nigerian political space is a brutal struggle for power and resources. Ruthless, savage. There is nothing like we, the Nigerian people. It is all a lie. To join one, you will just be like the Yoruba people, idiots, that went to go and join the Igbo coup of 1966, where they killed all the leaders of the North, killed the leaders of the West, and speared the entire Igbo leaders. The Fulani people, Hausa people, have never denied the fact that the counter coup of 1966 was an Igbo coup. They did not deny it. Was an Arewa coup. Danjuma will deny it. Muritala Muhammad will deny it. Buhari will deny it. The only people that are denying that 1966 was an Igbo coup are the Igbos, because they believe in the power of manipulation and propaganda. They need to paint themselves as an exceptional people. It is called ethnic exceptionalism complex. They need to paint themselves that way. And today, they are supporting Peter Obi. They are doing obedience. Tomorrow, the same people that are telling you, oh, we are for good Nigeria, want to switch, want to possibly Biafra. So they have no principle, but the Igbo agenda. And they don't hide it. You see the way they talk? They will curse, they will insult, and they will still come back again and say they expect you to support their political agenda. Look at what Azikwe did for the Yoruba race. The damage, the wickedness of Zik. How he sabotaged the Yorubas of connived with the British and denied the Yorubas of Kogi and Kwara from joining the Western region. Look at every wickedness they perpetrated. Zik even challenging Awolowo for political leadership in Yoruba land. The same people are now saying that Yoruba people should have joined them in Biafra. We owe you nothing. We owe you absolutely nothing. We only met ourselves in Nigeria. We are disparate nations, disparate people. We are not the same. The only thing we have in common is the green, white, green, and British colonialism. That's why I prefer the new national anthem. Though tribes and tongues may differ, at least it shows the differences, the diversity. And the only people that are anti-diversity in Nigeria, the number one anti-diversity people in Nigeria are the Igbos. To them, they want to create, and when they say, oh, let us all melt, let us create melting pots, they are not using Anambra as a social experiment. They are not using Abia as a social experiment. Once they, let us talk about melting pot, the next thing in their mind is Lagos, Ibadan, Lagos, Ibadan, Port Harcourt. That's what they're talking about. Enugu was built by the British from the scratch. It was the British government that built Enugu. It was the British government that built Kaduna City. It was the British government that built Port Harcourt City. Then why are the Igbos now always telling, oh, it's the British Lord Lugard that built Lagos? Who built Enugu? Who built Port Harcourt? Who built Kaduna City? The reason why they are doing this because they think we are weak and can be conquered. And can you blame them? You can't. Can they get away with half of what they've done in Yoruba land in any place in Nigeria without any reprisal? Can they? They can't. So going back to the Tutsis, in the 19th century, there was, after the creation of that kingdom, call it the Rwanda kingdom or something, they created that kingdom. A powerful Tutsi king emerged. So I have told you why the Tutsis, even though 15 to 20% of the minority of the population were able to turn themselves into the political class, the aristocratic class that control the economy, they control religion, they control everything within that Rwandan society. So what they now did, after creating this Rwandan society, the particular king emerged in the 19th century. His name was Rwanguri. Rwanguri was the one that started making laws. And when Rwanguri started making laws, what he first did was that he took possession of all the lands in Rwanda. He made a law that only Tutsis can be given warrior training. Tutsis are the only ones that can become warriors. So the Hutus, even though they are the majority, did not know how to fight. They cannot go to war. So Katus, because the Tutsis were the cattle owners, they were the pastoralists, the Tutsis became the symbol of power, because the symbol of economic power was the number of cattle you have. There was an economic, so from intermarriage, diluting Hutu consciousness, displacing the Hutus from the political class and the administrative class, to total economic destruction of the Hutu people. This took place in the 19th century. This is not colonialism. This is not Europeans are our problem. That's why I say you guys, and one Africa, you guys are stupid. Go and read history. Go and read history. You are going to see a lot of black on black colonialism. Hello, Kaiton. The Tutsis colonized and destroyed the Hutus. This is written in history. And so that's why the Tutsi conquest of the Hutus did not start from a war. 200 years intermarriage when they destroyed the middle class. Go and look at what is happening. Look, the middle class are the most powerful class in any society. The middle class are the most powerful class in the Yoruba society. If people like us, can we come and be fighting here? If we are not well to do, if we are not well tutored, if we are not well traveled, if we do not have a level of empowerment, do you think we can stand up and be fighting for our people? It's impossible, because this battle, this struggle requires money, requires will, courage, strength, intellectualism, ideology, foray. You need to be prepared, because Nigeria is a bloody struggle, and we know what the Igbos want to do. It's conquest. They are not interested in building or nation building. That's why if you look at their propaganda, it's always about Biafra. And they understand that the average Nigerian mind is mentally weak. An average Nigerian mind does not have the mental capacity for a robust discussion. You are wasting your time. That's why I say, oh, Nigeria can be... Nigeria, look, forget you are lying. You are wasting your time. That's why some of us are looking for true federalism. Regional, true federalism, a kind of regional framework. Because the 6th geopolitical zone cannot attain economic emancipation and economic power at the same pace and at the same time for the next 200, 300 years. It's the bitter truth. That's why all the time, every means to take Lagos State out of the Southwest, that has always been what the Igbos are looking for. Even the Hausa people, Hausa Fulani people too, have also joined their madness. Some of them have joined their madness. They also want to take Lagos out of the Southwest. If Ogun State too, and Oyo State, Ogun State RGR is bigger than the entire Southeast. They will also start planning about taking the South Ogun State out of the Southwest. Even though Lagos State was created in 1967, out of the Southwest, but they will model up history because the Lagos capital, the Lagos colony was poor. Aula wrote it in his book, in his autobiography, that the Lagos capital is poor, was a financial burden and liability on the Western region. So this nonsense of saying, hey, Lagos is this, Lagos is a poor, well, Lagos colony was extremely poor. Lagos State was created in 1967 from the Western region. Awolowo was the one who lobbied for the creation of Lagos State. So saying that Lagos State should be taken out of the Southwest is absolute madness. What Edinburgh is to the Scottish, what Londonderry is to the people of Northern Ireland, and what Belfast is to the people of Welsh, is what Lagos is to the Yoruba race. Any avenue, politics or not, legislation or not, to take Lagos from the Yoruba people is a declaration of war. Total war. Because we are never going to mince words. Everything the Yoruba people achieved in Nigeria was built on the martyrdom and the bloodshed of our leaders. Every single thing we achieved was built on the bloodshed and the martyrdom of our leaders. They should come and tell us, they should come and give us roster between 1970 and 1950. 1925. How many of your leaders were assassinated as Yoruba leaders? You this bunch of miscreants. And you don't expect us to continue to be the sacrificial lamb of Yoruba, of Nigeria? Anything we own, you start claiming it as Nigeria. But what you own, you start self-glorifying as if it's your own. You don't even want to see it. You just want to limit the Yoruba civilization. We should just continue producing music, entertainment, dance, anything Yoruba consciousness, all of you will just start ganging up like miscreants. That's why some of us could not forgive many of the Middle Belt nationalists that joined the Igbo movement to do Operation Capture Lagos. My leaders went to prison for the Igbos, for the Middle Belt. We went to prison when it was not nice to do ethnic solidarity, national solidarity with the people of the Middle Belt. Awolowo and the action group leaders did it with Joseph Taka. While Igbos were supporting the destruction and the extermination of the Middle Belt people. This is the truth. In 1961, in the Tea Riot, Mai Malari led Igbo soldiers to kill and wound more than 50,000 people in the Middle Belt when they were fighting for the liberation of the Middle Belt from the Arewa hegemony. People should come and deny. Nobody can deny what I'm saying. Just use Brock. It's the truth. And it's because Yoruba youth, if your youth do not know their history, they will embrace their enemies. We all want Nigeria. I don't believe in one Nigeria. There's nothing. It is only the only place where you have one Nigeria is Nigeria. There's not like one United States, one UK, one Somalia. There's nothing like that. You don't need to put one. No. Nigeria is an amalgamation. Why use one? I believe in a federated Republic of Nigeria. Nigeria even is not a republic because we have kings. And I'm not going to abolish my monarchy to make people of lesser and inferior civilizations to feel okay. I know the Fulanis are never going to abolish their emirates and sultanates. The Kanuris will not do the same. The Igalas will not remove their Ata of Igala. So I am not going, we Yorubas are not going to abolish our ownership system for any miscreants on the altar of one Nigeria. Because Nigeria, anybody that believes in the erasure of ethnic identity, in the erasure of indigenous people, or the rights of indigenous people in their states and regions, anybody that believes in the destruction of indigenous civilization on the altar of a false patriotic one Nigeria is a genocider. I put it to everybody listening to me. The deputy speaker, Kadu, is a genocider. Forever just suggesting that indigenous rights should be destroyed. Sultan is asking for genocide. He wants indigenous rights to be destroyed. We still have war going on in Warri. The Yoruba people, the Shekiri people are fighting for their land. Yorubos and Ijos are ganging up, trying to use INEC to expel our people from their land. You are asking us to destroy ethnic identity. Because of what? Oh, intermarriage. So what? The Scottish and the English people have been intermarrying for the past 800 years. Scotland is still Scotland. England is still Scotland. England. The Irish and the English have been intermarrying for the past 600 years. Irish is still Irish. English is still English. Why do you now think something that is less than 100 years? This experiment. People we do not share anybody with. You are telling us intermarriage. You are telling us sort of rubbish. And destroy our civilization. Destroy our identity. We are going to resist with every blood in us. Last blood. Unfortunately, this is the task of this generation. To preserve the Yoruba civilization. There is nothing too extreme when it comes to the preservation of your ancestral homeland. There is nothing too extreme to do when it comes to the preservation of your homeland. There is nothing too extreme when it comes to the preservation of your heritage. Nobody should call you an extremist when you are defending the honor and glory of your civilization. How can I be an extremist when I'm protecting the rights of Yoruba people to exist in Yoruba land? How? It's like saying that it's like calling the Germans extremists to say that Germany must be ruled by Germans. It's like saying the Russians are extremists and saying Russia must be ruled by Russia. Let's even make it. Let's take it home. Switzerland has 4 regions, and those 4 regions is based on ethnic identity. There is a French part of Switzerland. There is the English. There is the Dutch part of Switzerland, and there is the French part of Switzerland. There is there's no Dutch, German, Italian, French, and Roma. When the German part of Switzerland says, I want the German part of Switzerland to be German speaking and to be ruled, administered by the indigenous German, you are not saying that person is an extremist. That means you have a mental problem. You are a thief. You are a miscreant. The only place where indigenous people do not rule their land is a place where you've conquered the indigenous people, e.g., Hausa land. E.g., in South Africa, Cape Town. E.g., America. E.g., Canada. E.g., Australia. E.g., Brazil. Because you've destroyed the indigenous people. E.g., Rwanda. Rwanda is ruled by Tutsis. I was given the narration of how the Tutsis systematically replaced the Hutus. When the British, when the Belgians, Germans came, Germans maintained that status quo, that feudal status quo in Rwanda. But when Belgians came, Belgians brought Catholicism, Christianity, and a lot of Hutus for the first time started going to school. They were empowered socially by the Catholics. So they embraced Christianity. So the Hutus started using Western education to organize themselves. This is where I'm going. Because we are dealing with a people that are very diabolical. Highly diabolical set of people who have no interest, who are more obsessed with the governance in the lands of other people than their own space. And they are ruthless. No shame, no honor. No honor, nothing to be proud of at home. You see why people like Oji Okwe, that useless miscreant, the way she behaves on Arise TV, shameless, pushing beer parlor Igbo propaganda to national TV, gossips on Twitter, when it's trying to police the emotions of the Yoruba people to constant hate and attacks by the Igbos, non-stop against provocation against Yoruba people. That nonsense ends. That's ended today. And it will continue to end. It is not hate. Preaching for the self-preservation and the survival of my people does not mean I hate you. And I don't even care what you think. You can bloody go to hell, where you belong. Because history will justify me. History will justify TYF. History will justify a lot of Yoruba comrades doing the Lord's work, doing the work of Oduduwa. The Yoruba land does not belong to this present Yoruba generation. Brothers and sisters, Yoruba land does not belong to us. It was a gift handed to us by our fathers. And we must hand it over to the coming generation. Those that believe they can use the Palestinian model, where the Jews were buying lands and how they were able to use the use of money to systematically dispossess the indigenous people of their land. They want to do the same in Yoruba land. You will be pushed back, and we will fight in the way it pleases God and man. We will fight. Because God is not creating any more land. Almost every war in the world is about land. When the children of Israel left Egypt and they were going into the promised land, they were going to fight for land. When Ukraine and Russia are currently fighting, what are they fighting for? Land. When the Azerbaijans and Armenians went to war, they went to fight for land. When South Sudan and Sudan fought a brutal civil war, they were fighting because of land. The Nigerian civil war was all about land. The Ekiti-Parapor civil war, of the Kiriji war, of the Yoruba civil wars was all about land. The Ife-Modakeke war was all about land. Because land is the most important constant factor of production. The reason why you are a Yoruba people is because there is a land. Take out the land, you are just a stateless, useless people. Without the land, you are nobody. So the preservation of your land and your heritage for the coming generation, it is a task that God himself will be happy with you when you go back to heaven. It doesn't matter the religion you have. You will go to hell if you lose your land. All of you that go to church every Sunday, and the church in just Sunday, all of you said, you remember, I know, I'm quoting the Christians. Joshua 1:8, if I'm right. Anywhere the feet of your soul step, that land shall be given to you. It is a bitter truth. And you all say, oh, Abraham blessings are mine. What was God promising Abraham? Land. And you are telling us that we should not preserve Yoruba land when we are faced with demonic and diabolical people hiding under one Nigeria, saying that they want to remove state of origin. That is the highest slap on the Yoruba race by these diabolical groups who are not supposed to even be in our land for one day. Voxi populi, voxi dei. The voice of the people, the voice of God. It is what we want that our political elite must want. The political elite that does not listen to the wish of the Yoruba people. We don't care what you're doing. We must ensure that your political career is destroyed. When we talk about the preservation of Yoruba land, that is greater than the price of kuli and price of bread. We are not like Esau, who sold his birthright for a pot of porridge. Some of you are bastards. Oh, look at Tinubu, the price of bread, the price. We are talking about the preservation of our land and our heritage. You are talking about the price of bread and kuli. Man shall not live by bread alone. They want to give you kuli and collect gold from your land, from your hand. The entire Southeast is just is the same size as Oyo State. Overpopulated. Most of the land is not good for agriculture. Landlocked. You go to Enugu, there is no water. They have all sorts of issues. Go to any place in Yoruba land. Just dig, borehole. There is water coming out. The land flowing with milk and honey. Yoruba land is flowing with milk and honey. It is the seat of empires. From the Owu Empire, or Ife Empire, or Oyo Empire, Ibadan Empire. The kingdoms, the richness, the greatness. We survived slavery. We survived colonialism. We survived wars. We survived famine. We shall survive Nigeria. No matter how they try. Because we understand what Nigeria is. They are trying to destroy and create a new identity. Why can't we be Yoruba Nigerians? Why? Why must you destroy our Yorubaness for Nigeria to work? What are you guys trying to achieve? You are trying to alter the nature, the balance of nature. You are trying to create and you are trying to make a colonial identity my identity. I will resist with my blood. Don't care. And we shall fight in any legal way as possible. We don't want our children to fight like Palestinians. That's why we are fighting this time. We are starting pariwo nsìn. Torí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ dalẹ̀ làwọn ọmọ yín máa gbé ṣépè. Wọ́n máa gbé yín ṣépè. Because you saw what is happening. I want to wrap up. So as I was saying about the Tutsis and the Hutus, till today, even though the Hutus, after the assassination of Rwandan presidents, after they were assassinated by Hutu militias in the 1990s, the Hutus, instead of coming down, one place or one Tutsis, and they went on what? Brutal massacres of the Tutsis. And the Tutsis were able to now use that sentiment and propaganda. And they were able to use that to curry favor from the Western world and the powers that be. So anytime you want to expose the Tutsi colonialism of the Hutus, you see them everywhere. Oh, hey, you guys are enabling genocide. Ask them what happened before that genocide. Once you start talking about Biwaguri and what he did in the destruction of the Hutus in the 19th century, they will either curse you, run away, or they start reporting you to Interpol. Or start threatening you. I'm telling you. So the Yoruba people, you need to be organized. We are never going, we are in charge of our lands. We are in charge of our politics. Things are still, we are just being careful. So don't go and attack anybody or do anything. But Yoruba land must be controlled politically, economically by the Yorubas in Yoruba land. No apologies. If anybody tries what they tried in 2023 again, all this, we don't want Nigeria. Go and do one Nigeria in Igbo land. We don't care. We don't care. We must organize ourselves. What happened in 2023 must not happen again in the history of Yoruba race. Let them go to hell. You should come and tell me. Even there's a United Nations Charter, the indigenous people of the land must protect themselves. Come and tell us what we did. Why what we are fighting for is not supposed to. Yoruba land is worth dying for, is worth fighting for. The protection and the salvation of Yoruba land is worth fighting for with the best, with your life. It's worth fighting for. And a land you cannot fight for, a land you cannot defend does not belong to you. A land you cannot fight for, a land you cannot defend, does not belong to you. That's why some of us are trying to be ideologically sound and be like a shining light, like what TYF is doing. It is politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. Mao Zedong. Politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. The Igbos understand this. Most of the ethnic minorities understand this. In the Middle Belt, there are some places, if you are not a Christian, you cannot represent them. They understand it. The Hausa the Fulanis understand it. The only people who do not understand politics in a multi-ethnic jungle like Nigeria are the Yoruba people. They love to speak English. They love to brag about PhDs. They love to brag to be educated. They love to say, I'm Omoluabi. Meanwhile, they are mentally empty. If you don't understand survival, you are a fool in this world. Because according to the preference of nature, survival is the number one rule of life. A land you cannot defend does not belong to you. Byzantine Empire used to belong to the Romans. The Turkish people took it over. Who are the people in the Byzantine Empire? The Greeks, the Armenians, the Kurds, the Circassians, Hungarians, Russians. The Turkish people took over that entire place and they Turkinized the entire population. That's why Turkey today is 80% Turks. That's why you look at Turkish people as an ethnicity. The Turkish people in Turkey, they look like Europeans. Why the Turkish people in Azerbaijan, in Kazakhstan, in Turkmenistan, in Tajikistan, many of them look, in Uzbekistan, many of them in those places, they have Asian-looking features, Mongoloid features. You go to Russia, there's a place called the Yakutia Republic. In that region, you look there, they look like Mongol, but they are Turkic people. So, both our Turkish to one in Russia, to one in Tajikistan, to one in Azerbaijan, both not share yato in phenotypical between from the Turkish people of Turkey, even though they are of the same race. It is because they used intermarriage to assimilate the entire conquered indigenous people of Byzantine Empire. Those that stayed back in Byzantine Empire, they adopted the Turkish identity and they became Turks. If you don't become Turks, you are going to be killed or be enslaved. That is why you go to Sudan. In Sudan, you are going to see people that are black as charcoal, claiming to be Arabs, because they are product of Arabization. Have you seen the national football team of Sudan? It's like you are seeing the national football team of Nigeria. They are all blacks. But let them come and write their ethnicity. You'll be seeing Arabs. They are products of Arabization. They are products of intermarriage. So Arab itself, the Arab identity itself, is no longer in terms of color anymore. That's why one of the places the highest number of bleaching creams in the world is Sudan. Because many of them need to bleach in order to properly now look Arab. Aragon, seriously. It's not a laughing matter. When you're listening to me, I'm not joking. Because there are examples all around you in the world. Go and look at the Fulanis of Sudan, the Fulanis of Central Africa. They look different from the Fulani of Northern Cameroon due to intermarriage. There are some people that are claiming Fulani from Iloni. They look like Yoruba, speak Yoruba, but how? They are not just like a normal group, but it's a product of intermarriage. So we need to understand the way the world works. Now, what is the solution to this intermarriage issue? Those that have married Igbos and have given birth in Yoruba land, you are not going to chase them away. They are Yorubas. But the problem we have is that we now have weak Yoruba fathers. And a weak Yoruba father who does not know his history. How can you be a Yoruba father and you allowed your children to be given Osinachi, Chukwueze, and you marry? How can you allow your children to be claiming I'm Yoruba Igbo? You've lost it. You've lost it. You are no longer in control of your home. You become a pussy. Sorry to use that word. You become a sissy. So if you are really strong and you control your home, no miscreants will turn your children to Yoruba Igbo. You are going to properly teach that children Yoruba culture and Yoruba identity. It is the failure of the Yoruba men. That is why intermarriage has become our nemesis. Intermarriage has always been a source of strength for the Yoruba people. Because we had powerful Yoruba men. But now, àwọn ọkùnrin Yoruba tó wà dancing, many of them have mental problem. Kolos. So, they are not even capable of anything anymore. Ibi tó wà láàrin tán wọn yẹn, òun ló control ọpọlọ wọn. So that's why they are marrying women. So when they marry Igbo women, their Igbo women will not just Igbonize the children, they are Igbonizing the Yoruba men. They marry Kato Perendanjo, àbí nǹkan tí dájú, the táwọn èèyàn fi sọ, ebo ṣe dàbí dídìrín, bí dọ̀dọ̀yọ̀. You see them, you see the way they look. People, they look like people that are suffering from Down syndrome. People that have been drugged. So this is not the typical Yoruba men. They look like imbeciles. The self-confidence is gone. Because they've been properly bullied at home by their wives. So, as a Yoruba man, this is now a task for you. You go into your home and you what? You Yorubanize your children. You give your wife a Yoruba name. You even give her a Yoruba name with immediate effect. That this is a Yoruba home. The way you say this is a Muslim home, this is a Christian home, you do that. Or if you don't do it, we are waiting for you. What we did to Chinedu Dadebo, Rose Vivor, will be small to what we are going to do to you. Many of you will pack your load and get out of Yoruba land because we are never going to allow you to destroy us. Possible. There are people on this stage, there are people in the audience that are not full Yoruba, and they are proud to associate and they take up the Yoruba cause. That is who the Yoruba people are. We've had governors. Lam Adesina had a Bira ancestry. Have you ever seen us say Lam Adesina is not full Yoruba? Because we embraced him and he's Yoruba first. So if your own children are Yoruba Igbo, what's the problem? And to ba bimo ọ̀ràn no ma gbọ́ torí I understand in Nigeria. Nigeria is Konko Jabele Ọlọ́run ló ma gbọ́ mú yẹ̀ dání. I think I have to stop here. I want to thank everybody that has been able to participate. And if you want to listen to our lectures, you go to www.thinkyorubafirst.org. Just Google Think Yoruba First. Our lectures are on our Facebook page. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. You see our lectures there. Follow us and subscribe to us. If you want to be part of us, just go to our membership database. Google www.thinkyorubafirst.org. Membership is free. And no matter where you are across the world, all the continents of the world, we are there. Follow us, join, and we'll be happy to have you in our midst. Because what we are preaching is Yorubanism, and what we are preaching is Pax Yorubana. We are Yoruba first, no matter where we are. We became Nigerians due to the 1884 Berlin West African Conference. The Yorubas of Brazil became Brazilians due to the transatlantic slave trade. The Yorubas of Cuba became Nigerians due to the transatlantic slave trade. The horrors of the transatlantic slave trade. Thank you, everybody, once again. May Olodumare continue to be with us, protect us, and guide us. I'm going to
share.
And we speak hopefully next week, and I'll hand over to the moderators and let's have question and answer. The floor is open.